Hi friends, this is your friend Vishkesha Raju. In this video, I would like to demonstrate how to run servlets in Eclipse tool. So, whenever you are going to run run the any Java program or servlets or server related technologies in Eclipse, first you have to have Eclipse tool in your system. So for that, so if you see www.eclipse.org contains the various downloadable versions of Eclipse tool. So see here which version you want to download, that you click it. So that I have Eclipse 2002 hyphen 06. So this version I have in my system. If you observe, I will have in a location called here software CP. There we have Eclipse exe file. When you double click on that and you accept license agreement and you follow the instructions, so you are going to have the shortcut key on your desktop. So once you get a shortcut key after complete installation of this Eclipse, so you double click on that. So double click on that so that Eclipse tool is going to be loaded. So once the Eclipse tool is loaded, actually this servlets we need to open the project in enterprise and web applications, so, or dynamic web project also. In any of those options, if you open it, so we'll have uh, project sample servlets is the project name. So there you have to go to Java resources. There we'll have SRC or source or Java. Under that I created a package called sample. There I created validation servlet Java. Validation servlet Java. This is a servlet program. So how we are going to create servlet means right click on a package, new. Earlier we try to choose class. Now we have to choose servlet. So when you select enterprise and uh, web development, that option if you select, then you are going to see this servlet option. If you choose normal development of Java applications, the servlet option we won't see. To see this servlet option, we have to load Eclipse with feature called enterprise and web development. So once you have this option, then servlet going to be created. This is servlet. So servlet, there were three ways of creating the servlet. Three ways to create a servlet. So one first approach is the subclass. You are defining a subclass. For servlet interface. So that time the signature how it look like is, so public class, some name you have to give like servlet demo you give, because servlet interface you are defining a class, so implements you have to use implements servlet. This is one way. Okay, and coming to second way, defining a subclass for generic servlet class. Defining a subclass for generic servlet class. Generic servlet is a class. Okay, so that time the signature look like so public class. So your servlet name is servlet demo 1. Here extents you have to use, because generic servlet is a class. The subclass you are defining is also a class. So class to class extents you have to use in inheritance concept. Okay, so similarly third approach if you see, so defining a subclass, that should be you are defining for HTTP servlet, H capital, HTTP H capital. Okay, so that class is HTTP servlet. So here One more thing you have to see is life cycle of the Servlet. Why I am telling these are important concepts. So it will have, init method which takes a Servlet config as an argument. Okay, so and the second is service method. Service small only, letter small s only. It takes a Servlet request. If you take REQ, and another one Servlet response. Servlet response RESP. It throws Servlet exception and IO exception. Okay, so there all business logic we need to handle. The request we have to properly handle in the service method. And last desktop method. Okay, there any objects you created at the time of loading the Servlet, all those objects we need to deallocate, free them in the desktop method before termination of the Servlet. There were also other methods like Servlet config. Type is get Servlet info, get a Servlet config. Okay, this is one method, and another method string. It returns string get a Servlet info. Actually, these 5 methods are defined in the first approach called Servlet interface. Okay, that time we need to compulsorily implement these methods. So if you are following first approach, that time we have to implement these 5 methods. Okay, if you are following the second approach or third approach, you just implement first 3 methods. Okay, these two are not required. Okay, so in that particularly, if you are using third approach, if you are using H2P Servlet, that time instead of service method, we have to implement either do get method or do post method. That depends on the method value that is specified in the form tag in HTML program. Okay, in form tag method value suppose we get, that time you have to use do get method. Okay, so if the method is there post, do post method you have to use. What are the differences between get and post? If you see, so get method and post method, if you see, so first difference is the controls data in the form. When you submit it, all controls information going to be shown in the address bar. So that is not secure. So it's not secure. Whereas post it is secure because that information going to be hidden. That is not shown. The control information is not shown. And the second major difference is get method handles small information, small data, whereas post method large information going to be handled. Okay, so these are few differences. So anyway, I am going to save this file like the servlets information. Okay, so now coming to the program directly. So first the purpose of doing this program is first I am taking a HTML file, their username and password I am going to provide, and when you click the submit button, Servlet going to receive that username and password, and I already have default username and password, and I am going to compare with the defaults that controls against the defaults. If they match, login success, otherwise login fail going to be displayed. Okay, so HTML files. So if you take sample servlet is a directory, their web app is a directory, their web.inf, their web.xml file we are going to see, web.xml file we are going to see, that is web deployment descriptor file, which is very very important. So when you start this application, so it is going to ask at last screen create automatically web deployment descriptor file. If you tick the checkbox, it is going to be created. Otherwise, you have to create it. Okay, this is one thing. This web.xml file is one thing, and HTML file, JSP files, all we need to save in web app directly. So here, begin HTML.html. So it is the file from which you are going to start. Here, if you see body tag, once you see the body tag, I am defining a form tag. So form, the method type is get. So we are going to use doGet method. If we are using third approach, so that is we are defining a subclass for HTTP servlet. That time doGet method you have to use. Otherwise, you can use the service method only. Action, the program that we are going to load after submitting of this form is validation servlet. And this form consisting of a label user and a text field type text field, and its name is u1. So using this u1, we are going to receive in a servlet program using get parameter method. So and second is so after some lines, 2 lines, so password label, and this is another text field, but it is a password type, means the characters whatever you are going to type that going to be masked with one character, one symbol. So whatever you are going to type, that is going to replace with one symbol. Okay, one symbol. So if you see the output, then only you are going to understand. But the second text field name is P1. So first text field U1, second text field P1. These are very very important. Using these names, we are going to receive the data entered into these fields using get parameter method defined in request HTTP select request or select request, and button submit type, and the value is login. So this is HTML program. So now the validation servlet, that is saved in sample package in source directory. So go to validation servlet. There the skeleton automatically going to be provided. So here see, it is defined in once you observe, it is defined in sample package. Okay, it is defined sample package. So and once you see the packages, so once you see the packages, solid Java Excel solid package, which contains solid interface, generic solid kind of interface and classes are defined in this Java Excel solid HTTP package, which contains HTTP select request, HTTP select response are defined in this, and annotation package also imported. Before defining of the class, the web servlet / validation servlet. Okay, here validation servlet is the class name, extends HTTP servlet. So here it is already a skeleton developed and defined. So constructor also defined, but our job is to handling the request in doGet method. So third approach. So we are using third approach. So defining a subclass for HTTP servlet. So doGet and doPost. Why doGet here I use it is in HTML program. If you observe, the form method is get. That's why we are using here doGet method. So for the statement response.set content type. Set content type is a method defined in HTTP servlet response. There I am going to write the language is text or HTML in the output page. To write onto the output page, we need character object. So print writer out. Get writer is defined in response. So which is going to give a reference that is out. Out having now print writer type. So it contains now println method. Okay. So using println, something we are going to display on the output. And default string variables S1, John, S2, 1, 2, 3 I am taking, and those controls data. So if you see controls data, U1 is first text field, P1 is second text field, so that I am going to receive using request object get parameter of u1. So it is stored in u, and the second text field in the form file, that is HTML form tag. There we are going to see p1 using get parameter that is defined in request and that is stored in p. So if you in first text field, suppose you provide John, that is compared with s1, so both matches. And second text field 1 2 3, suppose you provide, and that is going to compare with s2, both matches. So that time if u equals s1 and p equals s2, we are displaying login success, otherwise login failed. This only we are going to do in this servlet program. So now hope you are going to understand the coding of servlets. So here in output page we need to set the language that we did, and we called set content type method from response, and we created also output object by calling get parameter from response object. And now we compare that s1 against u and s2 against p. So both matches, this true and this true, then login success going to be displayed, other login fail going to be displayed. Okay, so for this we require Apache Tomcat server, because servlets are server-side technologies. When server is running, the servlet is going to be executed. That's why these are server-side technologies. Okay, so how we are going to import server-side technology library into this Eclipse is, so right click on this sample servlets, build path, and configure build path. So already servlet hyphen API jar file is there. So if you won't have, so you have to go to add external jars in libraries, add external jars here. So already we are in Apache Tomcat, Apache Software Foundation Tomcat 9.0 lib. There servlet hyphen API jar file is there. So select and open. Okay, I already loaded. So apply and close. So if you want to load that servlet hyphen API jar file, we will get many red symbols here because of not supporting of servlet code. So many red marks we are going to see. Once you load it, all those red marks automatically going to be ignored. Okay, so if you scroll the program, so we don't have any red marks. So means so servlet technology, servlets information, that kind of utility is going to be supported by your code. Now from which program you have to start? How we are going to start? First HTML, after that the servlet program. What is the servlet program name here? Validation servlet. Before it defining of it, we also provide annotation. So how we are going to define annotation? So it is a predefined annotation, and anything that is prefixed with @ is called annotation. It is a web servlet. Its name is /validation servlet. So this validation servlet we provided in the begin HTML XML file for the action attribute. So validation servlet. So first we will run, and we will change the name also, and again we will run so that you can understand it. Okay, so here right click from this go to HTML file, begin HTML, then right click, run as on server, save. So manually load it, Apache. We are going on to Apache 9. I have version 9, so select it. So next sample servlets, finish it. Okay, so if you run it, so there is a problem showing that you start the server, you need to stop other processes. So already some processes are running, so that you remove it first. Go to servers, see all these things you have to stop, you have to remove, delete. So 3 already I executed some other programs on the server, so those processes are running actually. So those who already running process we need to delete. So once you delete, so now there are no servers running, no other instance of local host are running. So now we can run. Right click, run as on server. So manually you define a new server. Already it is in C drive Apache, and the kind of version I have is version 9 I installed. So click on next. Select the present project. What is the present project? Sample servlets. So finish. So it is going to load a HTML file. Yes, see, John I provided, and password. See the characters what I type 1 2 3 I typed. So those are masked. That's why I told type password. If you type equal text, the characters what you are typing we are able to see. Okay, whereas you type equal to password, those characters we are not able to see. When you click on login, so this is a submit button, but the value you gave is login. In that input type equal to submit, value equal to login. When you click on login, so this John compared with John compared with that you John is compared with S1. Yes, matched. And password, if you see password 123 that is matched with that means P 123 is matched with S2. Yes, both matches. So login success we are expecting as output. Okay, click on login. So login success. Okay, if you change go back and change instead of 123 you give ABC you give ABC I give. Okay, click on login. This time what will be the output? Login failed. Okay. So that's all friends. So subscribe to my channel if you like more. Refer your friends in that way. Try to support me so that we are going to see much more concepts in coming sessions. So thanks a lot for watching. So we'll see you next video.